The water felt like a liquid hug, cool and refreshing against the oppressive late afternoon Florida heat. I was floating, face up, just listening to the distant drone of a lawnmower and the soft splash of my own movements. This was my sanctuary, the place I came to unwind after a long day of navigating spreadsheets and tenant complaints, a small, private slice of heaven at the center of my world. "Excuse me." The voice was sharp, cutting through the peaceful hum of the afternoon. "Do you have any idea what you're doing?" I opened my eyes to see a woman standing at the edge of the pool, hands on her hips, her perfectly coiffed blonde hair pulled tight in a ponytail. She wore sunglasses so large they covered half her face, but I could feel the laser-like intensity of her stare. She was the textbook definition of a Karen. From the entitled posture to the judgmental, purse-lipped expression. I just stared, letting my body drift slightly closer to the pool's edge. I had been in the pool for maybe 10 minutes and this woman was acting like I had just defiled a holy monument. "What?" I asked, my voice a little too casual for her liking. I said, "What are you doing in my pool?" She repeated, her voice dripping with an almost theatrical indignation. "This pool is for residents only, and I certainly don't recognize you. Are you a guest? You need to be escorted. The rules are very clear." I sat up in the water, a little annoyed now, but still trying to maintain my cool. "I live here," I said simply, shrugging. "I've been here for 3 years. She let out a scoff, a short, sharp sound that felt like a slap. 3 years? I highly doubt that. I just moved in, and I know for a fact that this property is very exclusive. We don't just let random people just float around in the amenities. Who do you think you are?" Her question hung in the air, a challenge I was not ready for. The sun was beating down on my face, and the scent of chlorine, once comforting, now felt acrid and sharp. A slow burn started in my chest. This wasn't just a simple misunderstanding. This was a direct assault on my peaceful moment, an assertion of power from someone who seemed to have none. "I'm not just a random person," I said, my voice now a bit tighter. "I'm a resident. What's the problem?" She took a step closer, her perfectly manicured foot tapping the wet concrete. "The problem is that I've already spoken to the groundskeeper about the state of this property and frankly, seeing you in the pool like a common floater is just another example of the kind of mismanagement this place suffers from. I pay good money to live here and I expect a certain standard of decorum." I could feel my face getting hot, not just from the sun, but from the raw frustration bubbling up inside. She called me a common floater. My mind replayed the insult, and the anger flared. I was trying to de-stress, and this woman was actively trying to ruin my day for no reason. "Look, lady, I don't know who you are, but I pay to live here just like you do. I have every right to be here," I said, the calmness finally dissolving into outright irritation. She laughed, condescending, hollow sound. "You pay? Honey, I just spoke to the landlord. He told me he was out of town, but he made it very clear that any issues I had would be handled immediately. If you were a real tenant, I would know you." A chilling silence fell over the pool area. A lone bird chirped, and the rhythmic drip of water from my arms was the only sound. A side twist began to form in my mind, a little smirk threatening to creep onto my face. She said she spoke to the landlord. She mentioned the groundskeeper. I knew both of them. I knew them very well. My mind drifted back to the mountain of paperwork on my desk. The architectural drawings I'd been reviewing just a few hours ago. The scent of fresh paper and printer ink. My work. My property. I saw Dave, the groundskeeper, on the other side of the courtyard, wiping his brow, looking exhausted. He had called me earlier complaining about a new tenant. "Is there something funny?" she asked, her voice turning to a sneer. I shook my head slowly, still in the water, letting the moment hang in the air. "No," I said, a smile finally breaking free. I think there's been a massive misunderstanding. A real big one. You said you talked to the landlord? My voice was low, controlled, and for the first time, she seemed to pick up on the subtle change in my demeanor. Yes, she said, a tiny bit of her bravado fading. He's very nice. Told me to call him directly with any problems. I pushed myself off the pool floor, the water cascading down my body. I walked to the edge, the cool tile a welcome sensation under my bare feet. My phone was on the lounge chair beside my towel. Picked it up, unlocked it, and pulled up my contact list. I found the number for Dave groundskeeper and held it out to her. You said you spoke to the groundskeeper, Dave, right? He's a great guy. Works really hard. Her face scrunched up in confusion. Yes, him. He was very rude to me earlier when I told him to rake the leaves better. The disdain in her voice was palpable, a final dig at a working man just trying to do his job. A deep sigh escaped my lips, a mix of pity and disbelief. I opened my photo gallery and scrolled down to a picture I had taken just last week. It was a selfie. Me, standing beside a grinning Dave, holding up a framed photo of the complex's original blueprint. My name was signed at the bottom. The title underneath read, Proprietor. I looked at her, my expression calm. I didn't need to say a word. Her face, so full of righteous fury moments ago, began to change. Her eyes widened, her mouth fell slightly ajar, and her cheeks went pale. She saw the photo, she saw my name, and she saw the business card I had on the table next to my phone. A card that read, Anna, CEO Serenity Court Properties. Her bravado shattered, turning to a silent, panicked disbelief. The silence was thick, heavy, and I could finally feel the sweet taste of justice in the air. I'm sorry, she whispered, the entitlement completely gone, replaced with pure, unadulterated shock. I just looked at her, my head tilted slightly. Sorry? I asked, my voice a quiet echo. Is that what you have to say to the owner of this entire property? The person you just called a common floater? My heart was pounding now, not from anger but from the incredible satisfaction of this moment. I wasn't going to yell. I didn't need to. Her karma was serving its revenge right there. You see, I said, my voice firm and low. You spoke to the landlord, and you were right. I am the landlord, but I am also the owner. And I am also the person you just disrespected in my own private pool. I think it's time you found a new place to be a resident. Consider this your 30-day notice, courtesy of the owner. Maybe next time, you will learn to be a decent human being. Her frozen expression melted into an ugly mess of tears and frantic protests. She tried to deny it. She tried to apologize, but it was too late. I turned my back to her and stepped back into the pool. The water felt just as good as it did before, maybe even better, because this time, it was my peace and I had earned it back. As I watched her walk away, a humiliated, defeated figure, a profound sense of justice washed over me. The world has enough loud, self-important people. What it needs more of is quiet strength. The kind that waits for the right moment and then proves that integrity and hard work will always triumph over arrogant entitlement. It was an inspiring lesson I hope she carried with her, whether she liked it or not.